Okay.
And welcome, annoying ex-wives, mind-controlled nuns, and creatures supposedly out of Greek mythology, to this episode 292 of an Unearthly Podcast, streaming live on the 6th of February, 2019, and featuring the Sarah Jane Adventures, Eye of the Gorgon, written by Phil Ford and starring Elisabeth Sladen as Sarah Jane Smith, Yasmin Page as Maria Jackson, Tommy Knight as Luke Smith, and Daniel Anthony as Clyde Langer. I am your host for this evening, Randy Ronson McCulloch. And with me on the panel tonight is Mad Matt Winchell.
I'm Mola Cream Soda.
Tim the Enchanter Sheridan.
Boo to the yaw.
And Thomas Fireheart.
It's always the bloody Christians, isn't it?
Bill Sylvia, the Man in Black, cannot be with us tonight. He has left some notes.
Mm-hmm.
So, fucking weird week here in Wisconsin. I don't know about you guys. But we went from where we were last week, the deep freeze of hell, to 40 plus degrees over the weekend.
Almost completely got rid of the snow.
Yeah, the foot and a half of snow we have was now skeletal. And now suddenly we're back into snowfall and freezing rain here on Wednesday. This is like March weather.
The climate be a changin'.
This is like crazy March weather. And I have to go out and drive in this stuff after the podcast. I'm not happy about that.
Well, shit happens.
How about the rest of you? You guys have anything interesting happen this week?
Not really.
Nothing to top that.
I scraped the snow. I've ordered some parts.
Parts is parts.
The machine shall be upgraded.
Upgrade is mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. All right. So, I guess we might as well get this train wreck underway. On tonight's show, we have news and birthdays. Less news than I thought we would have midweek because I looked at a couple articles that looked promising and they were nothing but fluff, so they got tossed.
Yarg.
I don't think anybody has any serious geek talk.
No.
Oh, okay, we'll probably delete that tab when I get there.
Bill and
Bill has a review of Shaman and something else, but there are topics best suited for when he's here.
Bill had a geek talk and a review of Shame, and we are ignoring both because there's no fun unless the person's there in person.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's back next week, he can do those. But no, we're not going to try to review stuff that he's looked at for him.
Yeah. Can't really do that.
We will be using his notes for tonight's episode summary, review, final thoughts, ratings, etc. So, let's move on to birthdays, of which we have two of importance. The first one is the person whom we annually celebrate their birthday, and that is Elisabeth Sladen, Sarah Jane Smith from 1974 to 1976 and 1983. And then once again from 2006 to 2011. Would have been 73, but died in 2011 at 65. Can you believe it's almost been 10 years?
Ugh. It still pains us, too.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she was in the middle of the Sarah Jane Adventures, and that was a decent show.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably the best spin-off Doctor Who's ever had. Because Torchwood was unstable.
Torchwood was very back and forth on quality.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you have, Season 1 started weak, got strong. Season 2 is okay. But anything from Season 3 onwards is just no. But Sarah Jane Adventures delivered good quality from mediocre to good every week.
Yeah, the worst it ever got was mediocre, and that's at least a good, solid thing for a show, is to not go any worse than that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so happy birthday, Elisabeth, posthumously.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other birthday we have is on the 3rd of February, and not a posthumous birthday, and that is Warwick Davis, who played
Yay!
Courage in Nightmare in Silver in 2013, but is best known as playing Wicket in Return of the Jedi, the title character in Willow,
Which just got an anniversary DVD.
Or Professor Flitwick or Griphook the Goblin in the Harry Potter movies.
Mm-hmm.
And he turned 49, and I cannot freaking believe that. That Warwick Davis is only 6 years older than me.
Yeah, he was very young when he played Wicket.
In Jedi.
Yeah, he was like 6 years old, I think, when he played Jedi.
I mean, you don't know how amazing that is, because I was small when Jedi came out.
Mm-hmm.
I was like 7.
Yeah, he was just a couple years older than you.
6. No, I was 6.
So what
and
is
that
he,
means
10?
he was 12.
12, okay.
And he's the main Ewok in Jedi.
Definitely one of the main front 2 or 3, yeah.
No, he's the one that
one we got to see the most, though.
Yeah, he's the one that talks, quote, to Princess Leia. He's the main Ewok, and it's just like, what the fuck? He's 6 years older than me.
12 years old, and he's hanging out with Carrie Fisher on a log.
Yes.
The dream of all geeks.
Nub-nub.
So, yeah, happy birthday, Warwick. All of our hate and envy. Because he has been...
Not that he cares, he's always smiling.
Yeah, but he has been in so much stuff. He's been in Doctor Who. He's been in Star Wars, so that's 2 of the 3.
Yep.
I mean,
Harry
the only
Potter's
one that
an extra.
Harry Potter is fantasy. It's so it doesn't work as the triple threat of sci-fi.
Hitchhiker's Guide.
Was he in Hitchhiker's Guide?
He was Marvin.
Oh, yes, he was. He was the body of Marvin. Oh, Jesus.
Boom.
Plus, he's technically probably been in all 3 Star Wars trilogies at this point, because he technically had a cameo.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's had at least a guest appearances in all of them. Yeah.
He has been in every Star Wars movie, I think, since Jedi.
Now, was he...
He was in Phantom Menace. Okay, he might not have been in episode 2 or 3, but he's been in all of the new stuff.
Yeah, he's been in at least 1 movie of each, and he was in Force Awakens, and I think his scene might have been cut, like a scene he had might have been cut from Last Jedi, but he was definitely probably a background character in that as well.
He's at least a voice in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's in Force Awakens, he's in Rogue One, he's in Last Jedi, he's in Rebels, he's in Solo.
And that one, he's not even wearing a mask or anything.
Yeah.
What I can recall,
that's gotta be the easiest role he's had in the series so far.
I mean, the only person that gets more of my hate and envy is Deep Roy.
Who was also in Solo, unmasked.
And in Return of the Jedi.
And in Star Wars, and in Doctor Who. He has the hat trick.
Hat trick.
So, that's the only reason I hate and envy Deep Roy more, is because he's managed all 3. He's all Warwick does is has to get on Star Trek Discovery for an episode.
No, that was Deep Roy.
And boom, he's got the hat trick.
That's right. Yeah, that was Deep Roy in Star Trek. Never mind.
Yep. Somebody needs to email Warwick Davis and say, "Hey, you need to go to the Star Trek guys and go, I need to be in an episode. Just one.
Just one. Just give this to me."
Yep.
The holy trifecta.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
So, yes, happy birthday, Warwick. Moving on from birthdays to death days.
Sadly.
Sad. An Unearthly Podcast is sad to announce the death of Clive Swift, who played Mr. Copper in the 2007 episode Voyage of the Damned. He is best known for playing Richard Bucket in the series Keeping Up Appearances. Born in 1936, he was an English Lit student at Cambridge before teaching at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. He started acting on television in 1960 and appeared in a series of shows, including Theatre Night, Dig This Rhubarb, Dombey and Son, 30-Minute Theater, Clay Hanger, Barchester Chronicles, Midsummer Murders, and Peak Practice. Clive died on February 1st. He is survived by 2 sons and 4 grandchildren.
He also had a daughter, but she actually died before he did.
Oof.
Oh.
It should also be noted, since I found the picture that puts both his characters side by side, he was also in Classic Who for Revelation of the
Revelation
Daleks.
of the Daleks, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where he played the sinister ginger guy who's running the morgue.
Okay.
Very different characters that he played for
Yes.
Doctor Who.
So basically...
So, sad to see him go.
Yep.
Aren't they all Kappa?
I couldn't even find how old he was.
Died at the age of 82.
Born in 36.
It says at the top of the article, he died at 82.
82. Okay, so he made it into the good run, but just barely.
He was just a little ways into it, yep.
Yeah, 82. Okay. Almost made it to his birthday. Almost made it to 83. That sucks.
Oh, God, so many people that get stopped just before their birthdays, am I right?
7 days.
Yeah, that was my great-grandmother as well.
All right. So we'll move on from this to episode news.
Okay, Series 11's Woman Who Fell to Earth has gotten a little more notoriety, coming in at number 4 on the BBC iPlayer's most requested list for 2018, with 3,965,000 requests. Number 3 was episode 1 of McMafia, with 4,741,000 requests. Number 2 was the episode Nice Face of Killing Eve, with 9,235,000 requests. And finally, episode 1 of Bodyguard took number 1 with 10,842,000 requests.
Okay, this is important because this is now an ongoing statistic. Because that's like saying what's the most downloaded thing from iTunes. Only it's BBC centric, it's their iPlayer. So you put in a request, it's streamed. It's like, what's watched most on Netflix? Only, BBC iPlayer. So this is going to be, we're going to be seeing this every year. We know Doctor Who is not going to be in the BBC iPlayer's most requested list for 2019. Why? Because there is no Doctor Who in 2019. If it makes the list, something's wrong.
Yeah, or
comment in the chat, by the way, notoriety is bad, like infamy. I'm not sure where that's coming from.
No, notoriety is the same as fame.
Yeah.
Pretty much the only way Doctor Who could end on it this year is if the New Year's special gets a ton of it somehow, and that would be interesting.
And that would be interesting considering how low it was rated in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. The New Year's special is technically 2019.
Unless we hype it up, and say, hey, those Unearthly Podcasts keep talking about the New Year's special. We should watch it.
Well, in its defense, the New Year's special was a lot better than the second half of the season. It was pretty good by those standards, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough to.
Actually,
to
notoriety goes both ways.
Yes, yeah, it's like fame or infamy. It's of note.
Yeah, it goes both ways. It's a character of being notorious or widely known.
Mm-hmm.
Being celebrated or notorious or infamous, if you will, too.
Yeah, it basically means of note. So it can be positive, it can be negative.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like
it's
famous and
popular.
infamous. Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So, some bad news for app gamers. After 5 years, the thematic app game Doctor Who Legacy has announced it will be closing in 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yes, started for the 50th anniversary, Doctor Who Legacy grew to have adventures with all the Doctors and all the companions, as well as alternate versions of these characters. However, the license between the BBC and Tiny Rebel Games has come up for renewal, and Tiny Rebel has decided not to renew the said license.
Ooh, I guess it wasn't going well then.
I guess probably not in the last year or so. So on 17 of February, Legacy will shut down its servers for the last time. I know I spent a medium amount of money on Legacy when it came out.
I didn't spend any money, but I did spend quite a bit of time on it here and there.
It got interesting, and then it got boring, and then it got boring, and then it got boring.
Problem with most app games.
Yep.
That's a set progression.
All right, so...
Oh, well. Goodbye.
Good to know. If you have it on your phone, you can delete it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Moving on to our Big Finish news.
Big Finish! The latest short trip is up from Big Finish. This one narrated by Louise Jameson. In it, Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart finds himself in a hotel where long-dead ancestors come to visit. Only a slave girl named Leela.
Actually, Savage Girl.
Savage Girl.
Sorry, I was writing too fast.
Savage Girl named Leela. Short Trips, The Revisionists, is available now from Big Finish for £2.99 download only.
So I don't know if Big Finish is now trying to establish that Leela somehow got thrown back in time and became Lethbridge Stewart's ancestor. If so, that's going to be really weird. That's
very weird.
That's Virgin Books kind of weird.
Next they'll start talking about looms.
Don't make me throttle you over this Discord call, Matt.
I'm not saying that you're the one that went in that direction already, dude. Don't blame the messenger.
Missy gets off to a start in the Big Finish universe in her own series. 4 new Missy stories with Michelle Gomez, including A Spoonful of Mayhem by Roy Gill, Divorced, Beheaded, Regenerated by John Dorney, The Broken Clock by Nev Fountain, The Belly of the Beast by Jonathan Morris. Missy Series 1 is available now from Big Finish for £23 CD, £20 download.
Now, I have read some descriptions on some of these. A Spoonful of Mayhem is literally Misty being evil Mary Poppins.
I was hoping.
She basically shows up in Victorian London to become a governess, or she's stuck there and has to become a governess. So yes, she's psychotic Mary Poppins.
So she's just Mary Poppins.
I don't think Mary Poppins would hang children by the toes in the hallway for misbehaving. Just a thought.
Divorced, Beheaded, Regenerated deals with Henry VIII.
Figures.
Only Missy is up against another Time Lord. And not her usual nemesis. It's her versus the monk.
Oh.
Missy and the monk getting Missy. Missy, monk, Missy, monk.
Only the monk finds out who it is just like, fuck this shit.
Smart choice.
The Broken Clock, from what I hear, is basically one of these investigative detective thing where this guy is like following the trail of the worst serial murderer in America.
Worse, like he's killed a lot of people, or worse, that he's really bad at killing people?
No, I like the most kills.
Oh.
As in, he's managed some many horrific murders, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Only it's him, and he's teamed up with somebody from Scotland Yard, DCI Missy Masters. Which I think is the greatest name ever.
Missy Masters?
Yes. I want to get this set.
Yes.
It does sound like it's going to be fun.
If I didn't just have to spend damn near $40 on a new headset, I would probably be buying this. Oh, by the way, that's news for you. My headphones broke this morning.
Oh, that was this morning. Okay, I thought it was earlier than that.
No, it was 4 a.m. this morning.
Gosh darn it.
That's, by the way, why we had delays this evening. We had to make sure his system was working.
I'm currently borrowing Erin's headset since she's at work. I did ask, and I received permission. But I had to configure it and stuff, and it was not being agreeable with me. Anyway, I did absolutely nothing to the headset. I
just
took
literally
it
lifted
off
up your
my
head
ears.
and it snapped.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here, it's like, okay. I listened to what I wanted to listen to. I pull it off my head, and there's just this pop. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I watch as the entire right set of the headset just tilts upward. And I'm like, oh, no.
No.
Oh, no. And by the time Erin's out there going, what's wrong? The entire right side of the headset had just broken off.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, shit. So I rummage around online looking for a deal. I'm thinking I'm going to have to pay $150. Refurbished 505 Plantronics rig, $37.
Damn.
I'm
Not
like,
bad grab.
Okay. Sign up for 330 days of Prime, 2-day shipping, done. Oh, that's right. I had a $5 gift card. Okay.
And double down on that card. There we go.
There we go. So I spent that. I got that. Headset's on its way. Should get here on Friday. And then I've got to spend Friday trying to convince it to work on my computer.
Cross fingers and hopefully things work by Saturday, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, is that it for news then, I think?
Oh, yeah, news is done.
Yep.
The news is done today.
All
Here's
right.
the news, bye news.
So,
and we don't have Geek Talk.
Nope. No Geek Talk. No review of Shame.
We'll wait till next week.
We'll wait till next week. Kick Bill in the dick and have him do it.
The digital dick.
Okay, we do have some score changes, or score additions, I should say. And that is the fact that Thomas, in preparation for this episode, has watched the previous 2 episodes of Sarah Jane Adventures that we have already reviewed and has given them scores.
Wow, I can't spell anything.
So excuse me while I go to the master sheet and look up when the hell we watched these. What are these? What are the episodes? Okay, Invasion of the Bane, Revenge of the Sladen.
Invasion of the Bane was last year. At some point.
Revenge of the Sladen, I can see that one. And you, let's see. The group gave it a 4, a 4.5, a 4. Aaron gave it a 3.5. Tim gave it a 3.5. And now you want to give it a 4.5. Putting me and you as the only sane people that rated that.
Which one was this?
Revenge of the Sladen.
Ah, okay.
Which,
it's like the Sladen. Hate them in Doctor Who, love them in Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yeah, like that was very surprising to me that they didn't even really change them much. It's just, it works better in this setting.
It works so much better.
Like, this is basically a redemption for these characters. Like, it's insane. And they also, one thing that probably also really helped is that they only used friggin' physical suits rather than the fucking CGI shit they were doing. Which made them seem like they could move quicker than they actually could when you see them in the suits.
Yeah, whereas Sarah Jane Adventures didn't have the big budget for all of that. So it just used the suits, and it comes off so much better.
Yeah. And hell, they almost actually succeed in this case, so it's like, oh shit, they really get a redemption there.
Okay. And then Invasion of the Bane. You gave a 4.52. The group gave it a 4, a 3.5, a 4, a 4, and a 3.5, making you overly generous.
I will be honest. I would have to go back and watch Rose again, but now that I have seen probably a couple of times now Rose, and I have seen Everything Changes from Torchwood, I would actually argue that this is probably my favorite opening story. I mean, to be fair, it gets an hour as opposed to the other two, but I would argue this is my favorite opening story of a modern Doctor Who related show.
Well, mind you, Rose was weak.
Mm.
It had really dodgy CGI.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of scenes that were campy as hell. And it was only really redeemable by the fact that it had like one or two really awesome moments to it.
Yeah.
And of course, it introduced us to Eccleston's Doctor.
Yep.
But yeah, there were. I mean, it for me, it didn't really pick up until you got to End of the World, the next episode, and didn't start feeling like Doctor Who until you got to The Unquiet Dead.
Yeah. And the funny thing was it also felt like this could have been an episode of normal Doctor Who. Same with Revenge of the Sladen, really, because there's no real toning down that you would need to have done that they don't, like, there's a lot of, I mean, there's one where a person gets killed by a Sladen, and all it really is like, you see the slash motion, but you just don't see that actually happening, which that wouldn't have happened in Doctor Who anyway. So both of these are, like, really good Doctor Who episodes in a way without the Doctor.
Funny you should mention that. We'll talk about that later.
Speaking of, yeah.
All right. So that will change some scoring, and we will look at that at the end of the episode. All right. So that actually brings us to the episode summary. We've been on for less than half an hour, unless anybody else has anything more to talk about.
Gonna be a quick night.
No, not that I can think of, no. Which is probably a good thing, because knowing me, because it's my turn to do the summary, it'll probably take like 10 minutes.
Actually, it's Matt's turn. No, it is yours.
No, he signed up for last week.
I was supposed to do last week, but Bill decided to do it because he'd be away this week. So,
all right.
Of course, it works out because I won't be here next week. So,
and we're not going to have a full staff for a while. You are at least going to give us notes, right?
Oh yeah. I'll be giving notes.
Okay. Well, the stopwatch is ready.
Yep. Okay, we open the episode with a old woman seeing a nun in her room and suddenly disappearing after a while. But from that, we go to find out that Clyde has found out about this and has told Sarah Jane, so they come to this nursing home to investigate what's going on because, well, it could be aliens. And while Sarah Jane is inquiring about it with one of the women to have seen it, another woman manages to convince Luke to come out with her and tells him about a talisman that she has and gives it to him, and that he has to keep it a secret and that he can't let her have it. After a bit of family tiff stuff with Maria's parents, we see Sarah Jane find out about the talisman and get Mr. Smith to start analyzing it. Maria shows up and Sarah Jane takes her to talk to the old woman, who's called B. Noticing she's clearly going through something and wants to talk about it and just generally give her a distraction. Meanwhile, the nun shows up at Sarah Jane's house, and Luke lets slip that he has the talisman, with the nun leaving due to the appearance of Maria's dad. B finally lets slip that her and her husband found the talisman in Egypt, and tells them not to let the nuns get it, saying they guard something called the Gorgon. Luke and Clyde, I'm assuming walking to the nursing home to find Sarah Jane and Maria, only for Luke to be abducted by the nuns, with Clyde trying in vain to catch up, only to let Sarah Jane know what's going on, and they manage to figure out which abbey that the nuns must be at. When they get there, Sarah Jane is pretty much almost immediately caught, as her fake ID doesn't work. With the nuns confirming the Gorgon's existence and the fact that it's an alien, and that the talisman is the key to a portal for the Gorgon's homeworld, trying to basically lie that the Gorgon just wants to go home to die because it's getting old. When the Sarah Jane accepts to give the talisman to save the kids, she tries to turn it against them, claiming that she'll destroy it with a sonic lipstick, only for the Gorgon to turn Maria's dad to stone when he comes in and catches it by mistake. Now having the talisman, the nuns go back to the abbey. After an emotional outburst from Maria, Mr. Smith lets them know there is a chance that they can save Maria's dad, which turns out we find from B to B that they have to use the talisman on him to be able to cure him. The boys almost escape the abbey through a secret passage, only to be caught again and locked in a basement with Sarah Jane when they attempt to make off with the talisman. Sarah realizes that the Gorgon is more of a parasitic species, only to find out that they plan to have Sarah be the new host, because the old body that it's in now is close to death. After Luke and Clyde's attempts to save Sarah fails, Maria manages to come in at the last second and uses the mirror to reflect the Gorgon back onto the old woman, turning it to stone and effectively killing the Gorgon. They also are able to go back to Sarah Jane's house and turn Sarah Jane's dad back to normal. And they actually give the talisman back to B with the hope that it might cure her Alzheimer's. It doesn't. However, it does give her peace, and they drive off. The end.
All right. Oop. Stop. Shave off a few seconds. That was 4 minutes, and I guess about 4 seconds.
Whew. Short.
All right.
For me, anyway.
Yep. And let's talk about what you liked about the episode overall. And Tim, you are first.
Yay, first. What I liked about this episode overall. I liked Sarah Jane Smith herself overall in this episode. I thought her interactions with the different people was well done. Like her interacting with the teens as well as the nuns. Just a good performance from Elisabeth Sladen here.
All right. All right. Next up is Bill, and let me go get his notes. Because unfortunately, Bill left notes like all over the place.
Gotta find out which paragraph is the right one. Yeah.
Okay. So, what he liked is he liked the use of mythology explicitly in the story. It helps ground the series in our world a bit more, and he's just a fan of mythology in general. All right. Thomas.
I can pretty much expand on his a bit, because to me, this actually kind of, the mythology aspect of, well, it's actually aliens, but starting as mythology and stuff, felt very the era of Doctor Who Sarah Jane is from.
It's very the Time Meddler.
Yeah.
The Daemons. Yeah.
Yeah, and even like some stories that came either before her and Pertwee's era, and even like you could kind of argue Pyramids of Mars to an extent.
Pyramids of Mars, Horns of Niemen.
Where it's
Although
like, this
that's
is
not
like,
a good
okay.
example.
Yeah, just as like, oh yeah, this is like something that could have happened in old her. So, that was pretty fun.
All right. Matt, being the last one today.
I've got a pretty solid one, and it encompasses a lot. I like the fact that this particular story didn't seem to hold any punches back.
Mm.
If someone's going to get killed by the monster, they're pretty much, except for one exception, all get killed by the monster. If we're going to have a tidbit in the episode about Maria dealing with her feelings towards her parents because of the separation, we're going to have a moment for that, or two.
Mm.
We're going to deal with the what happened, what some of the aftermath might be for people who go on long extended journeys into the unknown in the Doctor Who universe. We'll deal with a whole lot of stuff all at once.
All
And for a
right.
kids show, it really didn't hold back.
So I'm going to kind of build off Matt's, because one of the things I really liked was the secondary body count. There is a scene where they come into the garden and they see all these statues of people that the Gorgon has turned to stone. And it just hits home how many people these things has killed. And they don't sugarcoat it.
Nope.
They just go right at you with it. And it's just like, okay. That felt like Doctor Who.
A moment of, oh shit, this is a warning, let's get the fuck out of here.
All right, so what we disliked about the serial. And Tim, you're first.
Okay. My impression of this serial was that there seemed to be a mood of laconic stuff. I don't know the noun. Laconicness. Over the actions of the people. The episode. The mood I got from the nuns and also the teens was barely above Willy Wonka saying, "Don't stop, come back."
I don't. I would have to say I didn't feel that, but that's what you felt. Okay.
All right.
Their monotone chanting of "Serve the Gorgon, serve the Gorgon." The way they surround Sarah Jane and recapture them. The way they trick or capture Luke the first time and put him in the car. You know, it's like I was rather underwhelmed by everything.
I will agree that the capturing of Luke was really what the hell. Even compared to normal.
We'll also remember that these are mind-controlled servants. So they are acting a little off because they're supposed to basically be zombie drones.
Even though a little bit of character does show through once in a while.
So what Bill thought was bad was with the crux of the character story in the episode having so much to do with Maria and her parents, it's off-putting that there's not an arc to it. It's used to move the plot along, but doesn't really move itself along. Even though viewers are more invested in Maria than old lady we just met. And I'm not sure if Bill remembers, but that's a kind of an ongoing character arc in this season. So that's an ongoing.
Yeah, it's not going to be something solved in one episode, no.
Right. All right.
I guess it's a matter of we're just used to Doctor Who doing that kind of stuff and like, well, it's done in this episode, so we won't see it for like another 12.
Bye.
All right, Thomas.
It's funny because it was going to be another thing, but then it occurred to me, oh wait, no, the timer on that kind of gives it an excuse as to why they wouldn't bother. So instead, I'm just going to go with like some of the sound effects. Like, the sound effect for the Gorgon itself just reminds me of the Digivolving music from Digimon Season 1. Like, I'm not lying to you. Like, I keep expecting to, like, have a Digimon show up and tell me that it's about to digivolve into something else. Like, that sound effect was like, what the, why are you using that? What
You
the
know,
fuck?
there is a Japanese Sentai show where the bad guys always comes out to the sound of a materializing TARDIS. I'm not kidding either. It's like somewhere in like the 60s or 70s, BBC sold their entire like radiophonic sound library internationally, and Japan bought it and went, "This would be great for Sentai," you know.
Didn't Escaflowne also use TIE Fighter sound effects?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't.
Because I very clearly remember that at one point. Anyway, yeah, weird sound things happen.
All right, so Matt, how about you? What's the thing you dislike overall?
I think the one thing I feel like didn't really go above and beyond was the makeup. I understand wanting to hold it back a little bit, but that's probably the one thing I feel like they maybe should have gone with a version 2 for the Gorgon. Because it just looks like an old age makeup with a little bit of maybe red or brown added to make it look like they're in bad condition or something, and the long fingernails. It's not the strongest makeup.
It's not supposed to look like Cthulhu, but
I know, but it's not so. I would think with the name Gorgon, you would have more something to it.
well, remember that this is it's actually something possessing people.
Yeah, I guess,
So
but still,
that doesn't explain why they got the long, like, you know, claw-like
monster
nails.
fingernails. Yeah, then why just the wrinkled face?
Mm-hmm.
There should have been something more to it. Oh well.
All right. So again, as I think I've done the last time we did this season of Sarah Jane, my least favorite thing is Maria's mother.
Yeah.
Can't find a picture of her right
God,
now. Curses.
There is no redeeming qualities to this woman.
She gets like one maybe scene where she shows something, but that's about it.
She shows at least a monochrome of forethought just for a moment and then completely dumps it.
She is such a prat. She needs, I mean, this is somebody that mothered a child and then dumped it to go hang out with a boyfriend and then still expects them to just drop everything. And, you know, the second she shows up, she is a complete and total, absolute, you know, jerk.
Yeah. Like, hell, like, as much crap as friggin' Jackie Tyler gets, she's a better mom than this.
This character is Jackie Tyler turned up to 11. She is a terrible character. I hate her.
Yeah. Like, it's one of those things where watching all of these, like, the first two stories and then this, is like, why are you happy to see this woman, Maria? Seriously.
Because when she's away from mom long enough, she forgets all the bad things. I think that might be part of it, at least.
Yeah, probably.
All right, favorite scene. And
favorite scene.
Tim, you are first.
Yep.
I did like the scene where Luke and Clyde are trapped in the library, and Clyde is going on about how we don't have time to be reading, we need to find a way out. And it turns out that Luke is reading a book to find the way out. That was sort of a nice turnaround, I think.
All right. Bill's favorite scene. See if he stole mine, the bastard. Okay, even though it was cheesy, something about the gravitas of the petrification scene really appeals to his B-horror fan, apparently. All right. Thomas.
I'm assuming he probably means when the dad gets turned, but or maybe it was like the bit at the end, but I would go with like immediately after that, so essentially like the opening of episode 2, where Maria basically has a bit of a breakdown, and Sarah Jane's trying to like keep her from doing so. But not only being a kid, but I mean, shit, this just happened to her dad. This is like a very real reaction. Like even the fact that she has a go at, like, she has an outburst directed at Sarah Jane, and Sarah Jane just takes it because she knows that she doesn't necessarily mean what she's saying, and that she's just very emotional at the moment, and she tries to comfort her.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt.
Gosh, a lot of good ones. I'm going to go with Maria and the old lady trying to find out a way to cure her father.
Okay.
When the old lady finally clicks, it's just a series of really good things all at once. Thank goodness at the last moment. The talisman is the key not only for the portal, but also the key to saving her father. So we got our Chekhov's gun right away, and we also cover the fact of giving her the mirror because you need something in order to end this, and it's the most logical thing. And Maria's like, "What? Why?" And I'm like, and me and the old lady both just go, what do they teach children?"
All right. So my favorite scene is actually when Sarah Jane is talking to the old lady, and she seems to be rambling on, and then she mentions Santarans. And the look that goes across Sarah Jane's face is, it's that moment of, oh my God,
I'm not alone on this planet.
Yeah.
And you realize if there hadn't been a crisis, she probably would have sat down and just nattered on with her for hours
Yeah.
about various aliens. And, you could almost tell she wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there was too much going on.
Plus, there's also the kind of self-realization of, oh my God, if I end up like is this what I could possibly end up like as some old rambly woman in a
if I ever lose my wits, is this what I'm going to be like? Rambling on about Santarans and Davros and
the dinosaurs.
All right, least favorite scene, Tim.
Okay, my least favorite scene is the scene where the nun knocks at the door, and Luke and Clyde answer it, and
Luke fails his wisdom check like 3 times.
Yeah, like facepalm, facepalm, facepalm. For me, the whole time, it's like, okay, I get it. Luke is supposed to be book smart, not street smart, but this is just too much.
No, he's also honest to a fault. Is the other thing, and that's what's coming in. But even you'd think Luke's brain would say, "Don't say anything."
Yeah,
but
especially because like that's the one main thing that like the old lady was like. At first, she just said, "Don't tell anyone that you have this."
Mm-hmm.
So normally you'd think he'd go, "Okay, I won't."
And I understand. Excuse me. I understand getting ratted out by Mr. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it'd be like, the lady going, and didn't it give you a gift? Shut up, let Clive do the talking.
Yeah.
Because he can lie. Clyde can just fucking outright lie. But then it's like, how do you know I received this thing? Yeah, it's like, God damn it, Luke.
Walked right into it.
Yeah. And then later when Clyde says, when a woman is asking you about a shiny, don't admit you have one. I didn't. Like,
yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
3 times. Count them. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Bill's least favorite scene is scene where Maria's mother is looking for the statue. For one, she's just annoying, which I talked about earlier. But that's not enough to make it that's worst scene. Beyond that, is Sarah Jane. Either she was literally too dumb to realize what they were looking for, or she was just gaslighting her to hide her secret. This is a trope, and I understand why she does it, but it goes so hard against the emotional core of the episode. You know, the maybe I want Mom to get to know my friends so she doesn't think they're weird, that it left a bad taste in my mouth, that it doesn't normally. And again, this is because it's an ongoing series plot line, not an episode plot line.
Yeah, again, this is the fact that their supernatural stuff is being kept a secret is a constant plot line.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think Bill's overreacting on that one again.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't really argue with him on that without him here right now.
Okay, Thomas.
Bloody hell. Honestly, I'm just gonna go with Maria just happens to show up at exactly the right moment at the friggin' Abbey to use the mirror, and it's like, come on. Like, the only way that could have been more, like, literally the last second is if she had to dive in front of Sarah Jane and hold the mirror up.
Ho ho! Yeah. I'll let Matt go, but I'm going to come back to this for mine.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, I just had it, and now what was my worst thing again? Gosh, I just had it. I might have to let you go and try to remember it again. Dang it.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will play off Thomas's here because I thought the whole Medusa possessing effect, the visual effect on it was so incredibly hokey. That, you know, and having it see that, and not only doing that, but having it come out and being bounced back by the mirror was just like, okay, that's cheese. That's just pure cheese.
Yep.
Yes, redirecting the sperm parasite aliens back at the old lady.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, please, guys, remember this is a children's show. We didn't need a metaphor. Visual phrasing.
Like, I get that they're supposed to be snakes, but, like, come on. You could have picked a different color at least then.
You know, why not make them black? Because that wouldn't look good when they're opening their mouths to glowy stuff. Oh, come on.
Could at least make them, like, tinted green or something.
Yeah.
Instead, that's pretty much, Let's not talk about that.
I think I got one. I can't remember what my original one is, but I came up with another one.
Go ahead.
The whole nuns pushing Luke into the car scene. Like, they just come up to him, they come up around him like a bunch of, like, your average school kid bullies, and they just keep rattling on back and forth with the most inane talking, and effortlessly push Luke into the car, and the lead sister just knocks Clyde on... Was it Clyde?
Yeah, it was Clyde.
Yeah.
Clyde.
Yeah, they just literally knock Clyde backwards, head over heels into the grass effortlessly, and immediately drive off.
Okay, can I add to that as well? Can I state how incredibly stupid it was for Clyde and Luke to go, oh, wow, we were nearly captured by a bunch of nuns. Let's go for a walk by ourselves.
That wasn't intelligent either. Yeah, they clearly showed themselves off walking away from the place. And it's like, you don't expect the nuns to sit around watching you?
Yeah. That's like, my thought would have been, let's deadbolt the doors, lock everything, and hide up in the attic with Mr. Smith. You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or at the very least, when you
safe.
see them kind of, or at the very least when you see them circling, like trying to like circle around you and move you to the car, like run.
Yeah. Instead, they're
not supernatural.
So. It's like Clyde's like, I'm going to stop them by my own might alone. Ha ha! No.
Bonk.
No, Clyde. Bad Clyde. You are not Superman. You are not the Blob. You do not have the power of being the irresistible force or the unstoppable object. Nope. You're done.
You are not the Juggernaut. You're not the Blob. You fail. Good day, sir.
All right. So we're to our final thoughts. And Tim, your final thoughts are first. We are going to be finishing this in an hour.
Yeah. Yep, sorry about that. Final thoughts. I thought this episode was rather mediocre, not very essential to watch, with some less than stellar performances, save for Mary Jane and the kids. Also, I thought that statue resembled Maria's father about as much as that bust resembled Lionel Richie.
Although,
Ouch.
if you want to go sideways into mythos, it makes you wonder if the Gorgons are that old. Did they have something to do with the creation of the Weeping Angels?
Mm.
Well, that's an idea. But yeah,
Just don't tell Moffat.
It's too late. He's done.
Bye-bye, Muffin.
Like, he could still do a book or something.
Nope.
Moffat can sit around and polish his ideas all he wants. They're not going anywhere. I actually just watched an interview with Moffat and Russell T. And they're, it's like somebody asked them, do you still get ideas now that you're not doing it that's going, oh, wow, that would have made a great Doctor Who episode? And Moffat's like, yes, I do. And Russell T's like, nope, I'm done.
At least Russell will admit it.
I mean, he'll go to a movie and say, yeah, that would make a great Doctor Who monster, but that's about the extent of it. It's not like I have a great story idea. No. Russell T is not doing that anymore. He prefers to sit and watch like a fan.
Yeah, one gets the feeling he completely burnt out his ideas while he was running because wow.
I think he burnt out completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He actually looks a lot healthier now.
Yeah, I remember that during the end he was looking really strained.
Yeah, than he does. If you've seen him 10 years ago and you see him now, he looks relaxed, confident. Unlike, 10 years ago where he's freaking chain smoking and looks like he's about to die. Moffat looks a little more in charge of himself, too. He grew a beard.
Why is everybody growing beards?
I don't know. I've had one for a while.
So have I. I usually trim it by now.
I trimmed mine recently. But no, it's like, wow, is that Moffat? He looks completely different than he did a couple years ago. What the fuck's up with that? Anyway, we're on to final thoughts. We had Tim's?
That was mine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're up to Bill's final thoughts. Story is very successful with the plot that gives it its name. However, it completely falls apart when you try to look at it critically at Maria's story. It's possible that that's setting up an arc for later in the season, but the story beats... Yeah, it's...
Again, Bill, you're not paying attention to the overarching story.
Yep.
The fact that it's overarching in particular.
Yep. All right.
It's kind of one of those... Yeah, it's kind of one of the detriments of watching this in isolation.
Yeah.
He needs to sit down and remind himself where we're at in the show.
Yeah. Yep. Thomas.
Yeah.
Final thoughts.
I definitely as I kind of brought up before, this is one of those episodes that you would not be out of place in 70s Doctor Who. Especially in Sarah Jane's run. So this is very fun to have a kind of throwback to that kind of thing of something in mythology having basis in some alien fact kind of stuff. I'm not sure, and having watched the previous two, I would say that the previous two stories before this, I'm on the fence of whether this is kind of on par with my thoughts of those or not. But I would actually say it kind of is, because there are some things that detract from a bit, but most of that is just little nitpicky stuff here and there, and Maria's mum. So overall,
Maria's mom, mind you, is a pretty big nitpick because she is annoying.
Yeah. So like I would definitely say that, especially if you've never seen the Sarah Jane Adventures before and you're an old Who fan, I would actually say that this wouldn't be a bad starting point.
All right, Tim. Oh, wait, no, Tim went. Matt.
What to say? Wait a minute.
I'm used to Thomas and Tim ending it and you starting. I got used to that, and the dice said otherwise today.
Haha! Did I say nay? Overall, I really like this story. Like a lot of the Sarah Jane adventures we've covered so far, this one does not hold back, and it'll tame things a little bit, but does not completely pull those punches when they want to hit on something. I know where some of these particular overarching season stories are going, so I enjoy seeing them, and I can't remember where they actually end, but I would like to see where they go again. Also, the monster, while not visually fully effective, is at least effective at being a useful monster for the story to worry about. And also, they do a nice cliffhanger in the middle, which definitely helps punch up the speed and the necessity of the second episode.
All right. So as for me, this is a decent episode of the Sarah Jane Adventures. It does suffer from a lot of the first season that bothers me, and that's Maria's mom. It has those issues, but other than that, I found the story to be decent and kind of endearing. I actually liked the old lady. I didn't really find the nuns' wooden acting to be issue because they were mind-controlled zombies, so...
Mm-hmm. Oh, I just remember what my other original one was for worst scene. The nuns circling the group, just chanting, worship the Gorgon or whatever.
Gorgon. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we immediately just cut to them in the basement. It's like, what? At least show some sort of struggle. Oh well.
Anyway, I think it's worth watching. It's not going to be the greatest episode ever, but it's likable.
Yeah.
All right. So let me open up the spreadsheet and we can go to ratings. Okay, so Matt's not first. Instead, Tim gets a first crack at Eye of the Gorgon.
Okay, I'm sorry, but this episode didn't do it for me, but I didn't hate it, so I'll just give this a 3.
What, not 0 points for not being Time Lash?
Oh, okay, I'm being generous.
All right, apparently you're more of a Scrooge than Bill. I mean, you know. Oh! Because Bill gave this a 4 out of 5. And then I think it's Thomas.
I think I would agree with Bill. I'll just give this a 4.
I think Tim is going to be our Scrooge.
Yeah.
It's a miracle.
Matt, how about you?
First time for everything, Tim. I'm also there at a 4.
Me as well.
Needs a little more polish, and then it could have been great.
I liked everything but Maria's mom, and I thought a couple of the special effects were a bit hokey. So, Maria's mom is over a half-point deduction, and then the special effects are maybe a quarter-point deduction, which takes it down to a 4.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere in there.
Any character that is not really supposed to be a bad guy that you just want to kick is a deduction for me.
Yeah, you just want to throw something at them until they get off the screen. Yeah.
So,
can be an issue.
With all of this, Sarah Jane, Eye of the Gorgon, gets a 3.8 average. We will now go to the ranking sheet, and we are now looking at 3 things. Let me find those 3 things on the sheet, which is big. Revenge of the Slovene currently has a 4.0, so it will be increasing.
Ooh.
What was the other one that you did?
Invasion of the Bane.
Invasion of the Bane. Invasion of the Bane is
that's
at a
3.9.
3.9. Yeah. and that will be going up. So 149, 134 will both be increasing, and then the new episode. So let's sort them out, see what we get. Data has a hetero, so let's sort by rating, and let's sort by core, and let's see where they go.
Yep.
That should be a couple of nice increases there. Tell me when you found them for me, because...
Let's see. Invasion of the Bane is 134.
Revenge of the Slovene is now 120. And as for our episode du jour, because Tim is such a Scrooge, Eye of the Gorgon comes in at 150 out of 281 reviewed.
Ooh.
Bah, humbug.
It is on par with Keep from Tracking, Boomtown, Ghostlight, Enemy of the World, Girl in the Fireplace, End of the World, Daleks Invasion Earth 2150, which if you remember we actually liked because it had Bernard Cribbins in it.
Mm-hmm.
Day of the Daleks, Robot of Sherwood, Extremis, Pyramid at the End of the World, Die of the Land. Time Monster. How did that get so high? Smith and Jones. It is better than the Moon Base, the Daleks, Flatline, Smile, and Claws of Axos, Dragonfire, but not as good as Power of the Daleks, Gardens of the Dead, The Chase, The Next Doctor, Blink, Monster of Peladon, Kerblam, Into the Dalek Warrior's Gate, Invasion of the Bane, Colony in Space, Brain of Morbius, Deadly Assassin, and Knock Knock. 150 out of 281. That's all we have to say about Eye of the Gorgon. Matt?
Alrighty. Yep. So, I'd like to take this moment to thank you all for watching. If you enjoy the shows, you can catch our VODs when we're not live on YouTube at Unearthly Podcast. You can catch up with the VODs on our main live stream channel on Twitch at Unearthly Podcast. You can also find our news and updates on Twitter and Facebook at Unearthly Podcast and Facebook on Unearthly. Actually, Twitter on Unearthly Pod and Facebook at Unearthly Podcast. And if you enjoy our shows enough that you want to spend $1 or $2 to help out keeping the shows running, or just like us that much, you can also join on Patreon at Unearthly Podcast and send us $1 or $2 there.
All right, so next week, because the cranium of Chibnall is really, really tiny, we've decided to continue our tribute to Elisabeth Sladen throughout the month. So we will be actually skipping a few episodes ahead and moving on to The Sarah Jane Adventures, The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith, written by Gareth Roberts and starring Elisabeth Sladen as Sarah Jane Smith. Actually, I think that's a second, third season.
Yeah, the third series.
Yep. So we're actually jumping.
We're skipping a few series, yeah.
Yeah, I want to do these because they're all they have special guest stars. So it is Elisabeth Sladen as Sarah Jane Smith, Tommy Knight as Luke Smith, Daniel Anthony as Clyde Langer, Angie Mahundra as Ronnie Chandra, John Leeson as the voice of K9, and guest starring David Tennant as the Doctor.
Yay, David Tennant.
So we will see you next week for that one.
All right. See you all then.
All right.